Hello, everybody. To all friends, I'm Monday Madness, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Bucket List. We are just about to kick off our next, the next game on our collective list, and it's actually my turn this time for my one. Uh,
Season five, if
it's,
we're going
it's
in that way.
yeah, essentially, yeah. Now, thankfully, seasons three and four were a lot more seamless than seasons one and two that were caught in what can only be described as developmental hell. Um, Constant rewrites, constant right teams and changes in the writing team and the production.
Not
Bit of a
just
mess.
that,
Recasting.
Changing
but
directors.
the devs managed to come forward and say they had to like shift manufacturing line partway along the run. They had to catch up on what had been done
I
too
know
long.
it's awful. It's just, and then just like it gets to a too many cook situation. You just need to get it done.
Yeah.
But yes, in any case, we are on to my second game on my bucket list now, even though because Ocarina of Time took literally fucking years, and this has actually been a game that I've been waiting to play for that exact amount of time. So we're about to watch the video game adaptation of Blade Runner.
Now, I will say with this,
Hmm,
I think I've watched it, but I have not watched it like in the last 10 plus years.
that's all
So
right.
like plenty of this is going to be like I'm not sure should I have like just played it in order to get what's happened because
It's
with a
yeah.
lot of those kind of video game adaptations it's like, oh yeah, it was explained in the movie.
Okay, right. So I'll help you in saying that it's not required, but it would help.
Okay.
And so the way it works is so with the Blade Runner movie is essentially you following the cases of the Blade Runner John Deckard, who was played by Harrison Ford, everyone knows. Um and his kind of story and his kind of cases brings him up to a certain conclusion, which is with the big bad corporation, the Tyrell Corporation. They're making all these replicants. It's actually all explained at the start of the video, so I don't really need to
Yeah.
prime that much. But what this game is about is basically there's like Deckard isn't the only Blade Runner in town. There's loads of them. They're specialized, basically, police detectives who have the legal right to kill replicants if they successfully identify them. That's their role essentially.
Okay.
And so we're just basically following the life and times of a different Blade Runner around the same time as the movie.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yep, that's
That
it. And yeah, so Casey, have you any exposure to Blade Runner since, or are you going into this completely blind?
I am going in blind as Stevie Wonder.
Fantastic, and I love that that is the scale of blindness that we're going for. Uh, so James is literally going in colorblind, which is great.
Because I
Always
am.
helpful for a Blade Runner. And then Casey's going in as if like, he's never even heard of the words Blade or Runner in his past. So that's great. That's exactly what we want.
I can
Um,
only say I'm very superstitious.
That's good. That can well, the writing is on the wall, to be fair. So in any case, yeah, you try and fucking throw me off with a song reference. I'll tell you that. Right. Okay. Are you ready to press play, gentlemen?
Yes, I
Yep.
think so.
All right then. I'll count us in then on three, two, one, play. So it should be said that Blade Runner was put out in the 1980s. So any kind of like amusing reference to like future years
Oh yeah.
has to be kind of like recalibrated to us. Although, considering how this year has started so far, maybe they've got a point.
Well, I mean, no spoilers. Or like
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
you
Yeah,
don't want to date the video too much. Oh
that's
gee,
it. Yeah,
early 21st century. Do we even count as that anymore?
we would still count as early 21st century. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, the game intro is pretty much just similar to the movie intro. So what we're seeing here, this is the same block of text that comes up at the start of the movie. Now the hidden context here is that there has been a third world war, nuclear annihilation, and basically the majority of the environment is gone. It's fucked. So all the kind of major cities are now massively stacked on top of each other to become massive population centers. Um, which is why Blade Runner looks the way it does, because essentially everyone's living on top of each other.
so when does this
Um,
become a world work of fiction?
well, that's the burning question, James, isn't it? Because bear in mind, in 1982, like this shit seemed like ludicrous, but it
Yeah.
kind of isn't now. You know?
A fire in LA.
Yeah.
Oh
Again,
wow.
so totally unrealistic. When would that ever happen?
Had to go for the low-hanging fruit.
The low-hanging, heavily singed fruit. But yes, this is essentially every whatever kind of major cities are left all look a bit like this.
Yeah.
And this is where we cut to
I'm
the games
leaving
events
now.
as opposed to the movie.
My sweet.
I cleaned
So
out the
what
tiger
year
cage
was
and
this
sorted
game put
all the
out?
meal bins.
The game
Said
itself
it's
would have been
all
put
right.
out in, I
It's
want
my
to say,
turn to take dinner.
1997.
Okay.
Yes, 1997. So this is proper FMV. If you were playing this at the time, you would have been switching between 6 or 7 CDs. I think it's possibly 6 CDs.
Jesus,
Whoa.
it's not weird to
want
like.
to.
I'm not sure if I'm showing like how young I am in that I don't remember a time of like swapping between disc one and disc two. Like that.
It wasn't. Yeah, if you're a PC gamer at the time, that's what you had to kind of live with, but only for certain games. Like if you're going with like interactive movies like this, let's say, or Ripper, for instance, that we played already on the channel, like that was kind of what's required because the game tech had moved on a certain degree to allow for FMV games, but the CDs were still of a limited size. So one thing had to lead to the other. Eventually it caught up with itself, but these games are like notoriously difficult to port. An enhanced edition of this game is out and available on like most consoles, but it is awful. Do not buy it. It's an absolute disaster. So the best thing to do is to literally like try and like buy the original good old games, give it one or two slight tweaks with the Scum engine, and you've basically got your original experience.
Yeah.
Honor, little man, at what price?
So, for instance,
I am
the
bracing for
subtitles are
what
out
it
of
look like whenever we have control. Like I'm bracing for something awful.
There is a bit of a shift down. Like these are obviously pre-rendered cutscenes.
Oh yeah.
But it's not too bad. Like again, everything is relatively heavily compressed, but the content is fine. Like it plays well.
Welcome relief considering that the most action.
Now, as I said at the end of our Black Mesa playthrough, the game automatically appoints who the replicants are in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on how you see the intro cutscene and depending on what other characters you intercept, the game arbitrarily decides who are real and who are cyborgs. So it is up to you, Casey and James, to use your skill and judgment to try and find them all.
Last time I had a
We're
theory was
fucked.
when some hooker
Yeah.
vomited-
Like I said, I play this completely blind as well, so I will chip in with the stuff that I know that I
A year
missed
and
to
a
kind of
half
fill the
on job,
blanks.
it was still
Mhm.
the dirtiest work I'd seen.
So if anyone else outside of the madness realm is trying to like watch this game for a comprehensive game playthrough, you went to the wrong place. This is a blind playthrough, and I will be indulging you with the stuff that we missed the first time
Took
around.
their knocks in the street. He had a friendly way about him, but you didn't want to turn your back
So
on
if you
him.
can't tell from the trench coat and the tie, this is our main character who's called McCoy.
It's time to take that thumb out of your
Is he the real McCoy?
Hallelujah.
He's the real McCoy. Well, maybe Casey he isn't. You don't know.
Holden sucking dinner through a straw. Gaff's working the Tyrell break-in and Steele's working special undercover. Looks like
So what happens if you kill
You really
human
know how to
thinking
make
they're
a
a
girl
replicant?
feel wanted.
Game over.
animal murder done at Run
Okay,
Straight up game
that would absolutely have happened with most of my. Well, if I been playing this.
Well, that's the key thing is trying to actually figure out who's suspicious and who isn't. Once we actually get into the gameplay proper, I'll explain like what the kind of process is. But
Okay.
it's all just kind of like just getting us started first. So
I thought you were on special assignment.
Wasn't too damn special after I had the
So there's a
suckers out.
replicant among us,
What
you say?
happened?
Couple of floors were
Mm.
masquerading as fibroplast insulators down at Kaiser. I dressed up like a nurse. They never had a chance.
so when they say 4s, 5s, and 6s, they're talking about the versions of replicants that are out there. So the Tyrell Corporation basically are manufacturing these replicants to work as off-world labor on Mars.
Working on it.
So in the event of the movie, the first thing that happens in the movie is that a couple of the Gen 6s, who are the most advanced of them all, who are able to actually masquerade as humans to the best of their ability, they basically hijack a transit from Mars and come back to Earth. But and there's been kind of a constant drip feed of this happening where they keep coming back to Earth to essentially wreak havoc or just to basically get revenge for being used as slave labor. So Now, like I said, the Blade Runner itself is an old is a Ridley Scott movie, so a lot of it is to do with the atmosphere. There's a bit of social commentary about it, and it doesn't really wait for you to figure out what the game is talking about or the movie is talking about. It uses its own dialogue, so it's up to you to try and keep up and figure out what they're saying.
No self-respecting human would own one of those frauds.
So now we're here. This is the gameplay proper. So, if you're wondering what the interface is like, it is literally just point and click. But everything left click is basically interacting with the world and stuff like that. But if you want to start shooting, you right click and your gun is unholstered and you can start shooting at whatever is available. And yeah, it's usually like I think they use it. You can't like kind of shoot people willy nilly in a sense. Like if I come out here and I start shooting that guard, that would count. But if there's some like cardboard cutouts in the background, I can't start shooting at them. Kind of way.
That's saying there's 100 bullets there or 100 replicants for you to find.
So that 100 there is Chin Yen, which is our currency.
Okay.
So basically in the Blade Runner universe, there's a basic global currency and it's called Chin Yen. Because again, the actual think of it as if like the actual kind of nationality stuff is kind of collapsed.
All the way.
So basically, all nationalities are all kind of like compressed into one city. So Los Angeles isn't a part of the US. It's just a whatever city there is available left in the
It's
world.
a city state, basically.
Essentially, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. So even like if you actually probably can't hear at the moment unless you have it quite loud, but all the actual background chatter you hear are all people kind of speaking a kind of like Spanish, Chinese, kind of yeah.
Scratches and flex.
Because again, that's like that a lot of kind of like sociologists kind of suspect or linguistic experts would suspect that like eventually if there is like one kind of like a prevailing language, it's gonna be a combination of Spanish, Chinese, and English, and it's all gonna. We're all going to end up like eventually everyone's going to end up speaking that one language because they're the three most prevailing ones.
How's old man Runcer?
So yeah, that's the way Blade Runner kind of like does it. And then if you're wondering why, like especially in the movie, it is like just constantly raining. It is like it is absolute shite weather the entire time, and that's obviously it's a stylistic choice because the world is fucked, and there's a bit of an environmental message there about how like it's too late for the Blade Runner universe to fix things, but it's not too late for you. So
this is also the 90s. People thought acid rain was going to be like really common.
Yeah, exactly.
I already checked for a crowbar.
Like I can remember being in primary school and being taught, "Hey, acid rain. If that hits you, you immediately die."
The lab boys run them through the mainframe. Human.
Yeah, using the term acid rain, I think was a bit disillusionary, but I got the point across. So that's something.
Sorry, you just had to. I had to look this up in the background. There is a combination language called Esperanto.
Esperanto, yeah.
That is academic language, theoretical language, auxiliary language. I don't know what the best. It's an entirely fake language.
Yes.
It's not natural, but it should be understandable to English speakers and Spanish speakers.
Yeah, you have basically enough to go with in terms of like, okay, I can pick out some of these people and so I can pick out some of these words and basically go from there. Yeah.
Jesus, what the fuck happened to that person's face?
Pixelated.
Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. Like this is like so basically if you have your kind of scum engine optimized, you'll be able to kind of get those renders to work better. But as I said, it's because ripping this off the CD was a bit difficult for most people. So the version that we're playing here is the one on Good Old Games, which is probably the best digital version, unless you're able to kind of mount a drive and do it that way. But even then, like the subtitles, I had to like download a fan made file and put it into the game files to do it that way. Yeah. And there are ways you can optimize the graphics and stuff like that, but again,
for the sake of this recording,
exactly.
Just wondering.
So you probably saw from the opening spiel there that Runceter is one of the few vendors of real animals. So again, the environment is gone. There is no environment. It is dead. It is not coming back. So basically, now real animals are a genuine like prize asset. It's like think of it like gold or platinum or something like that. So basically, the fact that like now someone's gone in to like somewhere like this, which is essentially a sanctuary for animals, and slaughtered all of them, and he's got loads of animals. Like there's not, it's not doing the justice here for the picture, but he's got anything from birds to tigers to gorillas to chimpanzees. You know, that's why like you know, this is actually a bit of an issue because like he's essentially slaughtered whoever he is has killed like you know millions worth of assets. And of course, Runslitter now is accusing his secretary Lucy of being part of it. So, so in terms of the game, this is like a proper detective game, and what I mean by that is that if you miss a clue, it is very likely you're going to miss it the second time.
Yeah.
Like, I only get like one chance at picking up certain things.
Stick around.
And it also will kind of define. There's a few logic gates in the sense where like, say if you miss this item, then this path you're onto this path then for the rest of the game. And if this bit you're onto the other path and vice versa.
And it's possible for you to be locked into. There's no way for you to win now.
Well, you still get to the end of the game. It's just more of a case of like, how many cases have you solved, or how many, you know, how much content you basically got. So essentially, like, if you basically dick around and you like, you know, you play the game as opposed to being a detective, you miss out on stuff. Like, I actually kind of like there will be sections where you're actually punished with lack of content because you fucked it up and you tried to brute force things, which is in a way I kind of respect the game for that because like it's not treating itself as a game. It's treating itself like no, you are the Blade Runner here. Go and find the replicants. Go and investigate the crime scene.
Yeah.
You know, whereas it's also not kind of appreciating that like this is a game in the mid-90s and the fidelity of the graphics is not the best. So you know you have to be a bit fair.
So you can like walk out of a crime scene, walk back and say, "Hi, I just want to investigate something in here again," and you'd be told to piss off.
You got any discs from that camera?
Potentially, yeah. So like, so say for instance, like if we leave now and just advance the plot elsewhere, this crime scene is closed. Time advances. So, for instance, now that we're like looking at that camera now, because if we miss the camera the first time around, yep, we've no crime scene photos. So you don't know who you're identifying.
Jesus,
you know what I mean? Like this is serious shit. Like you are punished for not investigating properly. Which again is like a refreshing change of pace, but also I'm like for the sake of the playthrough I'm fuming because like fuck I know I'm going to miss like an hour's worth of content here. That's actually quite important to the plot, you know.
Oh, my OCD is triggered like playing a game like that because I'd be like clicking everything randomly just to be sure.
And in fairness, like the game does try and give you a lift up. In fairness, like it is telling you in dialogue, like there'll be certain bits later on where it's the game dialogue is actively telling you if you do this again, you're getting knocked out. You know, kind of way. Or like the cursors are like different colored. So if it's something green, you can pick it up and do something with it. If it's blue, you're able to advance, and if it just stays grey, it's nothing to you. So
a candy bar. Yuck. A toy dog.
Yeah, something says a toy dog, like having a set of back wheels attached to a Dalmatian. That's what counts as toys in the early 21st century, folks.
Stick around. I may not be finished with you.
It's also one of those games where like you might have to speak to the character multiple times to get more stuff out of them. So, yeah, it's one of those ones.
Some kind of tool. No luck, but it looks like we've got some latents.
Judging from the distance between the prints.
So, in case you're wondering, this is obviously our little interface, our kind of like, you know, detective's aid called the Kia, and basically it just keeps track of all of our clues, compartmentalizes everything into like whatever case we're dealing with, and whatever suspects we have, kind of filters all that sort of stuff. And when we ever go back to the police station, we can upload this our Kia into the mainframe, and you know, because there's other Blade Runners also solving different cases, they might have like, you know, there might be collaboration.
They can give,
in Chinatown.
That might give us leads and stuff like that. Again, depends on how much we find and what cases we're actually pursuing at the time. Because again, we might just be given a binary choice. Are you like, let's like, not to say that this is exact happening, but like say you have a choice between going down this left alley or this right alley. That decides what case you're going on. That type of stuff. So it might not be possible to be able to pursue two cases at once, but you can give both of them a fair shake and help another Blade Runner out with solving it, or
Yeah.
be a hindrance depending on what you were. Because again, tying with the commentary of the movie itself, and some like the Rick Deckard's character in Blade Runner is he comes across as quite sympathetic to replicants, like it's his job to kill them off, but like they're only trying to defend themselves as well, kind of way. That's what again, it's the whole social commentary of it.